Hi everyone. Do you remember who this is? This is John. His name is John. And before, in another video, I talked about John's day, what John does in a day. I talked about what John does on the weekdays from Monday to Friday. So I talked about what John does on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. In this video, I'm going to talk about John's life, So let me erase all this. Just erase all of it here, except for John. Oops, I erased some of his hair. I erased some of John's hair. Let me add it back there. Let me put his hair back. There's his hair. And there's his forehead. Okay, there's John. So today I'm going to talk about John's life, So this year is 2019, and John is 30 years old. So John was born in 1989. So here is a timeline of John's life. So John was born in 1989, and John was born in Ottawa. So John was born in Ottawa, and Ottawa is the capital of Canada. So John was born in Ottawa, and John grew up in Ottawa. So John was born in Ottawa in 1989, and then in 1993, he started school. So in 1993, when John was 4 years old, he started school. He went into kindergarten. So he went to junior kindergarten and then senior kindergarten. And then in 1995, when John was 6 years old, he started grade school. He started elementary school. So in 1995, when John was 6 years old, he started grade 1. And so John was in elementary school from grade 1 to grade 8 from 1995 until 2003. So in 2003, when John was 14 years old, he graduated from the 8th grade, from grade 8, and he went into high school. So high school is from grade 9 to grade 12 in Ontario. So John went to high school from 2003 until 2007. And then in 2007, when John was 18, he graduated from high school when he was 18. So then when John was 18, he started university. He also went to university in Ottawa, and he studied computer science. So there's a computer, there's a mouse. So John studied computer science. He got his bachelor's of computer science degree. And so he studied in university for 4 years, from 2007 until 2011. And then in 2011, John graduated from university with his Bachelor of Computer Science degree. So John studied in university for 4 years. He took computer science, so he studied computer science, and he graduated in 2011, and he got his computer science degree. And then in 2011, also in Ottawa, John started work. He went to work for a company in Ottawa. Here's the building. So in 2011, when John was 22 years old, he started work for a company. So he went to work for a company in Ottawa. And John worked at that company for 3 years, from 2011 to 2014. So John worked at this company in Ottawa for 3 years, from 2011 until 2014. Then in 2014, John decided to leave that company. So he left that company in 2014, and John decided to go travel. So in 2014, when John was 25 years old, he decided to travel. There's a suitcase, there's a plane. So he traveled around the world to many countries around the world. So from 2014 until 2016, John traveled around the world to many countries. He traveled to Europe, to many countries in Europe, like France, Italy, Spain. He also traveled to many countries in Asia, like China, Japan, South Korea. So from 2014 to 2016, for 2 years, John traveled around the world. And then in 2016, John came back. John came back to Canada. And in 2016, John moved from Ottawa to Toronto. So in 2016, John moved from Ottawa to Toronto when he came back to Canada. And in Toronto in 2016, he got a job for another company. So from 2016 until today, 2019, for 3 years, John has worked for a company in Toronto. So John has worked there for the past 3 years, from 2016 until today. So now John is 30 years old. And what will happen to John in the future? So what will John's future be? Well, we don't know yet. We don't know. But maybe in 2024, when John is 35 years old, maybe then John will get married. Da 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 da. So maybe in 2024, when John is 35 years old, John will get married. And then the next year, maybe in 2025, John and his wife will have a baby, maybe a baby girl. So John and his wife will have a daughter maybe in 2025. And then in 2027, maybe they'll have another baby, a baby boy. So maybe John and his wife will have a son in 2027. And then maybe when John is 65 years old, so in 2054, John will be 65 years old, then John will retire. So John will leave work. John will stop working. So maybe John will retire when he is 65 years old in the year 2054. So after then, John will be retired, perhaps. And how long will John live? How long will John live? Well, we don't know, but maybe John will live to be 100 years old. So maybe John will live to be 100 years old. And so John will live until 2089. So maybe John will die in the year 2089. So maybe John will have lived from 1989 until 2089. Maybe John will live to be 100 years old. Okay, so today we talked about John's life up to now, and maybe what will happen to John in the future. So John was born in 1989 in Ottawa, Canada, and John grew up in Ottawa. In 1993, when John was 4 years old, he started school. So he started junior kindergarten. So John attended junior kindergarten and then senior kindergarten. And then in 1995, when John was 6 years old, he started elementary school. He started grade school. So he attended elementary school from grade 1 to grade 8. And in 2003, he finished elementary school and went into high school. So when he was 14, he started grade 9, and he was in high school for 4 years. And then he graduated from high school in 2007. So he finished grade 12 in 2007 and graduated from high school. And then in 2007, when Jean was 18, he also went to university in Ottawa, and he studied computer science. So he studied computer science in Ottawa for 4 years, from 2007 until 2011. And then in 2011, he graduated from university and got his computer science degree, his bachelor's of computer science. And when he was 22 in 2011, John started to work at a company. So John got a job. He started to work at a company in Ottawa, and John worked at that company for 3 years, from 2011 until 2014. And then in 2014, when John was 25 years old, he decided to travel. He traveled around the world to many countries, to countries in Europe, to countries in Asia, and he traveled for 2 years to many different countries. He traveled to many different countries, and then in 2016, John came back to Canada. But when John came back to Canada, he moved from Ottawa to Toronto, and then in 2016 in Toronto, John got a new job at a company in Toronto. And John has worked at that company in Toronto. He's worked there for 3 years since 2016. So John has worked at that company. He's worked there from 2016 up until now, until 2019. And then what will happen in the future? What will John do in the future? What will his life be like? Well, we don't know. We don't know, but maybe 5 years from now, John will get married. Maybe in 2025, John and his wife will have a daughter. And then in 8 years from now, in 2027, maybe John and his wife will have a son. So maybe John and his wife will have 2 children, a daughter and a son. And then when John is 65 in 2054, John will stop working, so he will retire in 2054 perhaps. And maybe John will live to be 100 years old. So maybe John will die in 2089 when he is 100 years old. So maybe John will have lived from 1989 until 2089 to the age of 100. So that's John's life.